What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Aaron B, and welcome back to Tacos and Touchdown. It is Taco Thursday, and I got my guy Justin Chute from Justin Time Podcast. How's it going, Justin?
It's going good, man. What's up, Taco family? Appreciate y'all having me on the show.
Yes, sir. We're not just gonna be talking about the Dallas Cowboys because we want to keep the spirits up on this podcast because there's a lot of things going in Dallas. We'll get it out. We're gonna do the ugly and then end it off with the good. So I appreciate you for being on the show, taking time out of your schedule just to be on here, bro. So
Yeah, I
one,
appreciate you having me on. It's always a joy being on the show.
yes, sir. I appreciate you again. So getting into a lot of trade rumors are going on. So Devontae Adams wants out of and it's kind of a mutual thing when it comes to the Raiders. And also today, there's reports that Travis Etienne could be a possibility for a trade candidate due to the fact of the record of the Jaguars. Between those two guys, who would you rather have on the Cowboys if that's the actual option?
If I'm picking between those two guys, I think the running back is the bigger need for this team. I would personally lean Travis Etienne. It also helps that he's a little younger, so you can kind of hope on a little bit of the upside with him. The biggest thing with Travis Etienne is we really need a running back and a clear running back one. We're Cowboys are trying to find life in that run game with Rico Dowdle and sprinkling in Zeke. And the fans want the Cowboys to use Dalvin Cook, who's just waiting back there. But and the little bit of usage that Deuce Vaughn gets. But ultimately, I think that if they go out and get Travis Etienne, who's a young guy, he can be a clear running back one for this team. He can help out in the run game. He can be a 3-down back. He can be a receiving option for Dak, which I think would benefit this offense tremendously. And also I think it'd be a good fit for Travis just because over there in Jacksonville, he's having to share targets with Tank Bigsby, and he's a very talented power back over there. And I think the Jaguars aren't trying to pay Travis Etienne, so it makes sense that the trade rumors are opening up for him too. Another thing with the Devontae Adams though that I don't really like is his age, and I've also just been hearing the Jets have been heavily linked to him, and I know that the Saints have been linked to him as well. So if I had to put my money on it, I'm pretty sure Devontae is going to end up in New York or New Orleans. Me personally, I would love to have Travis Etienne on his team. I loved him at Clemson. I think he would be, perfect over here in Dallas.
Yeah, I was leaning towards Travis Etienne when the rumor started about that. Like, you get a running back that has juice, and he's only 24, 25 years old. I know a lot of us love Zeke, but he's not the same guy that we know and love back in the 2019 and the 2016 era. He's that guy that's gonna be that short yardage back. And Rico, he's more that running back 2/3 type of running back. So when it comes to that situation, I would like to have a running back where you could run the ball because when it gets later into the season, you want to have a run game because most of the time that's when quarterbacks' arms are pretty much shot because they're throwing the ball a lot. So you want to benefit from having a running back that can be a receiver as well. Those quick dump offs and stuff like that. That's what ETN can do. And one thing about him, he's yards per carry, he's 4.6 compared to the guys we have on this team. And he's running the ball for 200. So far, he's ran the ball for 214 rushing yards compared to our whole running back regime that had 243 as a unit. That's between 4 running backs.
And it's been rough, man. It's been rough to watch.
Yeah, it has. It's just trying to figure out who's going to be the running back one, and it's not there, right? It's not there. It's like we got 2 and 3 and 4, but we don't have that guy that could be that player that could bring us that extra juice in the run game, man. We need it coming into the season, but we both agreed on ETN. So we can get into our next topic, and that is let's get into the Cowboys versus Steelers game. So what do you think the Cowboys need to do to succeed against this Sunday night football game against the Pittsburgh Steelers?
We can kind of stay on that run game, man. They got to find a way to be effective through, against that tough Steelers defense. This game is a little scary to me because we're playing this in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's been a pretty hot team. Talking about our defense for a second, Justin Fields, Najee Harris, that run game, they're picking up. They've been picking up steam. This is the best I've seen Justin Fields play in the league so far. I was really big on him when he was at Georgia. Then he, went to Ohio State. He was thriving over there. Came to the league. He showed some bright spots in Chicago. Not enough to warrant them keeping him last year, so they shipped him off to Pittsburgh. Now it looks like he found his footing. This looks like a perfect fit for him in this Pittsburgh's offense. They're very dynamic because he's such a threat on the ground. I think Dallas needs to find a way because they're going to be matched up against some tough guys coming at them. You got T.J. Watt, who's one of the league's best edge rushers coming at them, so that's going to be a challenge for our young O-line to be dealing with. You got a tough secondary that loves to go after the balls. CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson, they're going to step up for us. It's going to be a tough game, man. I really like the way the Steelers have played this year. I'm hopeful for our Cowboys. I hope they pick it up. I don't want to see us go, too deep in the L column and we get to throw away the season, 8 games in.
Yeah, you don't want to be in that where you're trying to play catch up, and that's where you don't want to be because now you're playing against teams that can run the ball well. And your first test is against the Steelers. And one of the things you got to contain Justin Fields' mobility because right now it hasn't had picture perfect, but that's one of his key assets is running when he has to, making those quick short passes in that Arthur Smith type of offense. And it's just my X factor to contain a guy like Justin Fields is our guy, UT's the Marvin Overshawn, who can be a last game he recorded 8 tackles, 6 solo tackles in the pass breakup. I think he could be that a QB spy for us, who has that ability to do the quick reads and react, combined with that closing speed he has. And he's a hard hitting tackler, and he can be that threat for us, distributing in this against that offense.
Overshawn is such a beast, man.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's he needs to be that guy that could just be that spy. Just let him be what he did. Just let him be a read and react guy. Give him that fair share of reps. I know they like to get a little foul in this game, but I think this year where you let Overshawn be that guy, especially when you're playing against those quarterbacks that love to run the ball, because I think he'd be effective when it comes to that. And then my second thing is, yes, this is a tough defense, but their defensive backs, they're kind of iffy, especially in coverage. They're physical, but they lack that coverage ability because Joey Porter Jr. allowed Michael Pittman 77 yards last week. So imagine a guy like CeeDee Lamb at his caliber against a Joey Porter. They're not a team that likes to have corners tracking our wide receivers. So you could take advantage of that with a CeeDee Lamb and a Jalen Tolbert who's going to have to step up due to the fact that we don't have a Brandon Cooks due to his knee swelling, which is sad to hear that we're losing one of our wide receivers because we already lost our best edge rushers.
That's one thing I'm a little iffy on, and why I think that secondary can find some success against us is because we don't have a lot.
Yeah.
With our receivers and our run game and our weapons. It's basically just CD and company. And that makes it very easy for opposing defenses to come and scheme against us because all they got to do is, if we find a way to limit CeeDee Lamb and his ability to, be successful in this offense, then we got a really good shot at winning football games.
Yeah. Then if we can get Jake Ferguson in there as well, he's our wide receiver too at this point. He's our second most consistent guy. Yeah, we got a bunch of young guys that we're like, they really look good in preseason, but we haven't really seen them being in the regular season, like John Stevens Jr. or Ryan Flournoy, who's this big body receiver out of a small college who's confident saying he's ready for this game. And one of his mentors is Jerry Rice. So hopefully that mentorship with Jerry Rice helps him into this game, and hopefully he gets some fair share of reps because when it comes to the Cowboys, we always have these young guys and we activate them, but we don't really get to see them. There's let's try to build that confidence with them with Dak, but we don't get to see that. It's kind of like we get to just see our usual guys. Let's try to add some new wrinkles to this offense, and hopefully we get to see something a little different. Maybe we can get Hunter Luepke playing some. Okay, what's going on my camera? But we're gonna keep it going. But
my bad.
Let's get Hunter Luepke involved into the receiving game and also in the running game as well, because he's definitely done some great things for us.
Especially at that fullback spot. It's very crucial for a couple of teams in the league, like the Ravens, who are thriving with Ricard at the fullback position. If you can give confidence to Leapkey, it can really open up that run game with the blocking a little bit. And, we ain't got to just limit him to blocking. You can, what you do on the field, if you can show me you can carry the ball and you can be a receiver a little bit, we're going to give you more and more volume per game. So, especially in the Cowboys offense that needs someone like that to just step up a little bit, I'm looking forward to how he does and how he progresses later on in the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're finally utilizing him this year better than they did last year. He was just kind of a 53 guy we just had on special teams, but he's showing that he could break out into downfield and make some big catches, or just play that physicality. That's what we need on this team, because we're a very finesse offense. So if we could figure out a way to get him involved, especially against these physical teams like the Lions, the 49ers, and the Steelers, that'd be definitely a great asset to this team. But let's get into some to the Texas Longhorns. So I wanted to ask you, what are 2 storylines are you looking for this game next week in the Red River Rivalry against the 4-1 OU Sooners?
Yeah, I mean, we can start off with the Texas offense. They're gonna have their hands full with that Oklahoma defense. They're led by star linebacker Danny Stutzman, who he was phenomenal for his entire OU career. And another senior for him he plays a defensive back for him is Billy Bowman Jr. Both these guys run this defense, and it's a pretty good defense. You're going to have your hands full every single game when they're playing. They fly around. They've seen a lot of football. They play a lot of football, so they're vets to the college game. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to Quinn coming back, if he's able to come back and be our quarterback for this game. I think this is a game where Texas is really going to have to thrive in the short and intermediate parts of the field. In the pass game, Sark has commented that our run game still needs a little bit of work, and that they're a few weeks away from, breaking off those big explosive plays that he thinks that this running back room is capable of. I got to credit this running back room, because I know a lot of people wrote it off when CJ Baxter and, Christian Clark got injured for the season, but I really like the way that Blue and Gibson and Nyblit and Weissner, man. Yeah. Ray Weissner. The way he stepped up last game is huge. Jaden Blue had 2 crucial fumbles last game, and I thought that was going to come back to bite us later in the game, but Trey Weissner stepped up. He did his thing, so I would expect him to get a lot of carries this game versus OU. He's been someone that I've been pleasantly surprised by, not only in the run game, but just the way he's able to hold on to the football with the ball control, and also being a huge part in the receiving game. So I'm honestly really excited to see how this Texas offense does against that Oklahoma defense, because I think that's going to be the biggest thing. If you're able to find success against that OU defense, I'm not confident in their offense to, go out and deliver, some crazy game, because they don't have Dylan Gabriel saving them this year. Their star quarterback that they thought that was going to be good this season in Jackson Arnold just hasn't panned out for him. They had a shift towards, I believe he's a freshman, Michael Hawkins Jr. He played Texas high school football last year. He's pretty good, but I just don't know if he's ready to go against this Texas team. We're still top 5 in the nation. This defense is top 10 in creating turnovers per game. I expect Colin Simmons and Anthony Hill to be huge when it comes to, limiting the scrambling ability of Michael Hawkins. I think that's the only thing that can come back to bite us. I don't think OU has a strong run game. So overall, I'm not too worried about this game. I think Texas is going to shine on both offense and defense. It's been a back and forth rivalry every single year. Last year, Oklahoma won it. The year before that, Quinn won it for Texas. So hopefully Quinn can get the job done, and it's hopefully his last time battling against OU. I got Texas winning in the Red River Rivalry.
Yeah, and I definitely obviously have UT winning. This team is fully loaded when it comes to this team. When it comes to depth as wise, we didn't have some adversity when it comes to injuries and everything, and then it's always the next guy that steps up. It may not be at the same level as the starter, but they do a quality job, especially when it came to the run game, because a lot of people were kind of like, I don't know, CJ Baxter looked like he was gonna be the guy, but Jaden Blue and the Wisners and the Gibson has definitely showed up when they get the ability to run the ball. But going back into this defense, can we talk a little bit about Colin Simmons, who's a freshman coming out of the powerhouse Duncanville? When I see him, he just...
I saw PFF. I don't know if you know what PFF is, Pro Football Focus, but they graded him out, and they graded him as the highest ranked freshman defender in the nation. So that is huge for him. I always thought that he was going to be huge for this program. Did not expect it right away. I love what he's been able to do for us. He's making us look really good, man.
He really has. And then going into the season, he leads the team in with 4 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, and then he leads the team in 1 forced fumble. And then he's second on the team in 4 quarterback hits. So imagine this OU offense lines and have their handful with guys like him in our defensive line. And like you said, Anthony Hill as well. So it should be a great game for both sides of the ball for Texas. I don't really have a score yet. I'll have a score probably next week, but
Yeah.
I'm just excited for this game. It's a morning game, so if you're a Longhorn fan and if it's a win, you're gonna have a great Saturday.
Yeah, it's a 2:30 game now. It used to be at 11 or 12. Now they moved to 2:30, so it'll be a little bit later. There's also another great college football game on that day. I think it's Ohio State and Oregon. I'm not sure, but that's going to be a great game as well.
Yeah, like if you have any plans, tell them I can't next week because
next weekend don't have plans. That's college football Saturday.
Yeah, basically, and that week is like I'm sorry, I'm busy. If you're talking about watching the game, I'm down. But I got things. I got important business things to do. But lastly, I wanted to get into, of course, Thursday night football predictions. So it's the Bucks versus the Falcons, and it's NFC South showdown. Who do you got in this game?
I got some money on this game. I got some personal parlays. Okay. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a very profitable game, my man. But me personally, I think the Falcons are favored by 1.5. I'm gonna take the Falcons at home. I think they've been a little slow to start off with the offense this year. Kirk Cousins still trying to come back after injury, trying to get his confidence back. He hasn't looked like a perfect fit in Atlanta yet, but I still think he's got some gas in the tank that he needs to rediscover about himself. I really think they need to find a way to feed Bijan and they need to feed Kyle Pitts because those are 2 former first-round guys that they should be getting a lot of the volume, and they haven't been receiving that to start off the year. I know Bijan splits carries with Tyler Algier, and not to take anything away from Algier because he can run the football and he's pretty good himself. But, Bijan Robinson was a first-round pick that you used a year ago. So, that should be your guy. That should be like 60, 70% of your targets for running back. That should be your go-to. He was really successful at Texas. I think he can be really good in this Atlanta offense if you unlock him the right way. As for Kyle Pitts, I hope he gets it going. Looks like Kirk Cousins has really loved, throwing it to Drake London, Darnell Mooney. I'm missing like Ray McLeod. Those guys have been benefiting off of Kirk Cousins, but I would love to see Kyle Pitts to finally get it going. It seems like every year fans have kind of just been, hoping and waiting for his breakout because he had that 1,000-yard season his rookie year, and he hasn't been able to replicate it since. But not to discredit anything from the Buccaneers, man, because they look good. That defense looks really strong. Baker Mayfield has been, probably playing his best football as of recently. They got that running back out of Oregon, Bucky Irving. He looks really good, especially when you have to share that backfield with Rashad White, who's pretty good as well. Like I said, I think it's a very profitable game if you're a sports gambler like that. But personally, I think the Falcons are going to squeak this one out.
Okay. So we would disagree on this because I got the Bucks winning this game. I'm enamored by the moxie of Baker Mayfield, watching how he's played this season. And then he's got those consistent receivers in Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, who's been in this league for a while. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes to the defense, they generate a great pass rush against the Falcons offense because due to the fact that Kirk Cousins doesn't have the mobility to move and everything because he's coming off that torn Achilles. So I just see it a long day for Kirk Cousins. And just I don't know what's going on with the Falcons. Like you just brought up, they're not utilizing their top weapons in Bijan Robinson. Like that should be your lead running back, but you're splitting 50-50 with Tyler Algier, who's a solid running back. But Bijan could have offered you things in the run game and the receiving game, but you're not utilizing it fully. And Kyle Pitts is just collecting dust, who was a guy that was supposed to be that wide receiver tight end hybrid. I like what they're doing with Drake London, but they're not utilizing these guys. I just got the Bucks. I think they're going to give Kirk Cousins it's going to be a long day for Kirk Cousins. I think he's going to get a couple touchdowns, but I think this Buccaneers offense could get some points up on this board. And I could see Baker getting a little bit over 300 yards this game with your receivers, and then you can run the ball well with Ricard Wright and Bucky Irvin. But it should be a good game. Thursday night football so far has been looking pretty good this year because last year.
It's been a fun season. The only thing I have to gripe about is the injuries, man. It feels like we've seen so many injuries this year to a lot of star players. So, I'm wishing the best for them. Hope they come back to the game soon. But it's been kind of cool to see these storylines play out.
Yeah. It's oddly happening to a lot of the tight ends. And I started noticing because in fantasy football, I'm like, dang, I'm trying to pick up a tight end and like Kittles, your David Njoku's.
Yeah.
Was it Trey McBride? Guys like those have been hurt. It's like, dang, what's going on with the tight ends this year? But yeah, it's been a good season. It just injuries have just been happening early this year, and it's like major injuries. It's not little minor injuries. Some of these guys are out for a few weeks, but
some of these guys are on the IR, and like they ain't coming back for at least 4 weeks. So you're gonna have to, get in your bag, do some research. Hopefully, you find one of these guys that just blossoms. Like I picked up Wan'Dale Robinson like 2 weeks ago, and when he played Dallas, I thought he was gonna have a big game. He didn't score a touchdown, but he had like 8+ receptions, so he gave me 20 points in fantasy. So I'm a big fan of Wan'Dale, especially if you don't know Wan'Dale Robinson, you play fantasy football, pick him up this weekend because it looks like Malik Neighbors is not going to play, so he'll be wide receiver 1. He might end the game with 12, 14 receptions. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I forgot he had that concussion against the Cowboys. So Wan'Dale Robinson was a really good receiver out of Kentucky. So if he's right there in free agency, pick him up. We're in the fantasy football. We're in a fantasy football league right now. What's your record right now?
I think it's 2-2. 2-2 or 1-3. Yeah. And yours, I'm not doing so good, but in my league, I'm all right. I'm doing all right.
I'm trying to get. This is my first year in this stuff. Sleeper is pretty. Yeah, Sleeper is a good app. I've used it last year and everything. I'm used to ESPN fantasy football, but Sleeper not too bad. Getting used to the notification, that noise.
I use Sleeper for the gambling. I did that for like a year, and I saw that the fantasy option looks like very eye pleasing. So I switched it over from Yahoo because me and my boys did Yahoo for like 5 years. Same. We switched over to Sleeper. We're gonna do it for football and basketball. Football is look beautiful, and I love that they give you the reports like every Monday or Tuesday, and everything is just very eye pleasing. It's very easy to look at. I'm very excited for basketball coming up. We're gonna do our draft in like 2 or 3 weeks because the season's right around the corner, my man. I'm looking forward to this, this season where we have basketball on every night and football on every other night.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a good. You brought up a great point about the Sleeper app because nothing against Yahoo, but theirs kind of looks like looking at what's it called, a Google slide when it comes to draft. But when you get to Sleeper, it's like color coordinated. Like, dang, y'all doing y'all thing over there, and then like you say,
like sound effects. So like if you make a bad pick, it'll make a reaction and like just say you made a bad pick. But if you made a good pick, it'll like give you like confetti and stuff like that.
I'm like, hey, you making me feel good today or something. Like, okay, Sleeper for sure. But I'm excited about basketball too, especially Spurs basketball. They brought some great veteran additions to this team.
Bro, I'm so excited for the season. They have us ranked at they think we're gonna get like 35 wins on the year. I've been telling everybody, if you're going to bet on the Spurs season win total, bet the over. Because Chris Paul hasn't missed the postseason in like 5 years. CP3 and Harrison Barnes' impact to this team is going to be phenomenal. Wemby is going to be great this season. Hopefully, he has another healthy year. He's coming off of a crazy offseason where he went on a crazy Olympic run. He got a silver in the Olympics against this Avengers US Olympic team that was, probably my favorite Olympic team ever. Curry, Bron, KD just leading the way for him. But I'm very excited for the Spurs, man. And this is a West where, we got some teams at the bottom that, if the Spurs, do their business and, you're probably not going to be better than the Mavericks. But if you go out there and you're competitive against the Rockets and you give it to the and the Grizzlies, you can find your way to sneak into the playing game. And that's all I want, as I want them to be competing, around the 500 level and to, try to get in that playing tournament.
Yeah. That's where I see the Spurs as a playing team. And when they interviewed Pop last year, you didn't see it as a playing team. But this year he was saying that this could be he didn't say that this year. there's some positivity comes to this team, and then having you finally got two veterans that one's been to the final to the NBA finals and won one with Harrison Barnes, and CP has been the true point guard that we needed on this team, and a veteran that could help out a guy like a Stephen Castle as well. I think there's really missing like that rim protector where you can have Victor can just be himself and not try to play center. I like Zach Collins and Charles Bassey when he's healthy, but I think we need that guy that could just be the one that grabbing the boards, blocking the shots, and Wemby could just be that guy that could be the wing. He could be the forward. He could play point. Be versatile.
In a perfect world, you'd want Wemby to be the 5, but let him run, have that ability to roam around. You don't want him cooking around the paint the whole time. And I think that's what the Spurs are on the lookout for. So it wouldn't surprise me later on in the year, like around the trade deadline or something, they try to find a center that's looking for a new team that hasn't worked out for their there's going to be a bunch of those guys up on the market. We just saw Karl Anthony Towns get traded, so in the NBA, there's always people on the move. You just got to be patient.
Yeah, absolutely. One guy that comes to mind, what they were talking about was Kessler from Utah.
Yeah, Walker Kessler.
Yeah, that would have been a good one just to have on there as well. But
yeah, I just hate trading with Danny Ainge because he's pretty stubborn, and he's one of those GMs where he's not doing a trade unless he's winning. And Utah wants a bunch of picks for him, and I'm not giving him more than like one. So. Because I think if the Spurs draft right, they got like 6 or 7 draft picks in the next 3 or 4 years. If they draft right, you got an OKC type dynasty just waiting. I mean, honestly, when I look at the teams in the West, I think that's the one we're gonna have a big rivalry with in the next few years. Because that team is super young and super deep. I think San Antonio can be that in like a year or two. So, we'll see. It's an exciting time to be a San Antonio Spurs fan. It's only up from here. We had rock bottom last year and the year before that. I promise you, it's only up from here.
Yeah, like rock bottom felt like it was for like 10 years, just because we're used to being that playoff team, and then having those years of just not being in the playoffs. It just felt like 1 year is like 5 years, and the year after that is another 5. It's like, when is this team going to be there? And they added some great additions to this team in the draft, and as well adding Harrison Barnes and Chris Paul to this team. Because
another sleeper pick that they added this offseason that's probably going to go under everybody's radar is Brandon Boston Jr. I loved him at Kentucky. I loved him in high school, and he never got it going in LA. And it's because you had Paul George and Kawhi Leonard in front of you, so you're not going to see minutes like that. So if he's able to develop under Pop and his staff, and he's able to provide some shooting off the bench, kind of look at Vassell and how he's doing like that. I think Brandon Boston could be a huge sleeper pick for this team. I think he could be huge for us later down the road, and especially off a guy that was just sitting in free agency.
Yeah, definitely agree. And then there's an opportunity because there hasn't been consistency when it comes to Malachi Barnum or Blake Wesley. So there could be an opportunity for Brandon Boston to make some noise and be on this on the roster soon. So there's some excitement when it comes to the Longhorns and the Spurs. It just we Cowboys. It's
we never have all three being good at the same time. You got to sacrifice one, and with Jerry Jones and all the shenanigans he's up to, saying he's all in, and then being the last in NFL as far as transactions and stuff like that. I'll take it. Cowboys can be mediocre as long as my Longhorns, my Spurs are thriving. I'll take it.
Yeah, I guess you can't have all the teams going on doing well. So if it got to be, I guess it'll be the Cowboys. At least we got Longhorns and Spurs to be positive and thinking about. So it's all good. It's all good vibes. But this has been a great episode. I appreciate you, bro, for being on the show.
Yes, sir, man. It's always a good vibe every time I'm on. I appreciate you, my boy, Aaron.
Sir, yeah. This has been Tacos and Touchdown. We got Thursday Night Football, and we'll be back next Thursday. Have a good one.